welcome to another studio vlog. So this is the March studio vlog, and I thought I would just let you guys know kind of what I want to get done this month, like just off the top of my head. So I want to finish the next two Patreon icons for the other tiers I want to bring out. I'm hoping to bring them out by the end of March. I'm hoping, as long as like I'm able to finish all the prep. So I'm gonna do two Patreon icons, which means I'll have to do the traditional bit and digital bit, as well as let's see, what else do I need to do? I need to get better at my productivity. Like, February was a huge bust. I didn't get much done at all in February. So this month I'm working on going to bed earlier at a decent hour. Mostly I'm just aiming for before midnight. Before midnight would be good. Waking up at a decent hour, and being a little bit more active. So just to start up slowly, I will be doing like a walk a week with my mum. I've already done that. Today is the 2nd of March, and I went for a walk with her yesterday on the 1st. As well as since I'll be waking up earlier, I find that when I wake up earlier I need to eat more. So instead of like the 3 meals a day, I need like 4, but I don't want to eat 4 meals a day. It seems a bit ridiculous. Though if I was a hobbit that wouldn't be an issue. But anyways, and so I want to like have nice, like, healthier snacks, but like a lot more filling. So I made onigiri yesterday. I hope I said that right. It's Japanese rice balls. So this is one of them. I'll pop up a photo of the others I made, and I'll also put a clip after this of my sister trying one. I made one for her. We both like anime, which is why I made this. So yeah, this is one of the snacks I'm trying. This is for like the first week of March, and then I'll try to have like different snacks for like each week, or just change it up a little bit so I don't like get bored. But yeah, I should have like filmed some of the process, but I didn't think about that. Yeah, still new to the vlogging thing, so I didn't think about that until it was a bit too late. But I did film my sister trying the first one, and she really liked it, which is good because she's like quite a fussy eater. So if she eats something without like any real complaints, that's good. And yeah, I just kind of played around with the fillings, and like some have mushroom, some have like sweet pepper, and some have kale. Pretty much just what was in the fridge that I could use. And I really wanted to put like sesame seeds on the outside, but I couldn't find any. There was like none in the groceries at all. So that's for next time. So I did linseed on some of them, and then chia seeds on the other half. And again, you'll see them. One of them I wrap like this, but the others I just have it like in the front, and I really like it because I find they look like little houses. I prefer that. I don't really like this look, so I think I'll wrap them like the other way when I make them again. But yeah, it was interesting. I cooked the rice too sticky, so it was a bit of a mess, but they turned out okay. And this is the first one I'll be eating. And yeah, I feel as if I've digressed from what I was talking about, but yeah, Patreon icons I'll be making, you can expect that. I'll be doing some jelly printing and other stuff throughout the month. Yeah, I'll fill it. I really want to make sure that I get back on track with what I want to do. So yeah, I think once I've gotten through the first week of March, I'll have a better idea of what I can finish, like once I've gotten back to a more productive schedule. So I thought I would try this on camera, see what it's like. I don't know which one this is. I think it's sweet pepper, but we'll see. This was the tomatoey one. I forgot I had done that, and I like it. I think it tastes good. I'm actually really impressed with myself. I don't like cooking at all, and it took a while for me to like get all this finished, and especially when it takes longer. I really don't like the cooking process, but I think it was worth it. I like it. I like them, and it takes me back to the time when around the age of 7 I was really into sushi, and my mum would make it a lot for us at home. And yeah, just like the smell of it and everything, it just reminds me of when my mom used to make sushi. So I'm going to finish eating this. I hope you enjoy the vlog, and I will see you guys throughout the vlog. So what do you think? Is it good? Tastes good? Yay! So I thought I would start off the vlog with showing you guys me repotting and replanting some succulents. So the ones that I showed you from the last vlog, they sadly died, so I've got a new money plant to pot up, as well as the short spiky green succulent. Now this one is really dried out and it does look dead, but it's actually got some really good roots. So this is just basically a challenge for me, and the last spiky green one I had actually was pretty much like this, so I want to see if I can bring this one back, and it'll take a while, but it'll be really nice to see like the improvement. And then I'm also potting up these succulents that my mum got me. So I've just got some just like potting soil, and I've got my pots, and you guys can see me pot them up. Alright, so they're all potted up. And when I go into the studio, I'll give them a nice big drink of water. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next clip. Alright, so I'm just going to water them. And I think I'll water these succulents as well. It's been a couple weeks. You don't want to overwater the succulents, but when I'm like planting them up or repotting them, I tend to give them quite a bit of water, just like to help with the shock of being moved, because yeah, since they've been like displaced and everything. So I just pour water until it starts to like drain out into the plate, or well, I tend to use, like with this big one, I have a plate that I use to catch any like excess water that drains out. But with all the others, I've just been quite frugal and just used like jar lids. And what's really nice is the jar lids, at least the majority of the ones I have this kind of like gold effect on them, so it looks quite nice with the color scheme of the pots. And I tend to use like just this spray bottle, just because I have a little bit more control. And yeah, so now that I have another one, I just have to kind of figure out the placement, because they are quite cramped in this little corner they have. Oh, and I put a skewer in the pot for the money plant just because it was kind of like tilting. I had to do it for the previous one as well. So yeah, I just put a skewer to just extra support, and then it has quite a bit to grow up. Oh, and I also forgot to show you guys, I don't know if I've mentioned it before, but this, I'll link the video to where I made this pot. I made it out of air dry clay, and I wasn't sure if the air dry clay would be okay with being a pot that has to hold water. So it wasn't. When I poured water into it, it got like soft even though I varnished it. So I just have like a plastic, I think this was some kind of Ziploc bag from like frozen veg or something, that I cut and put in the pot, and that's just helped to protect the pot a lot more. And yeah, so that's helped a lot. So I would recommend not to make a pot out of air dry clay. What I do want to experiment with though Also try to not get dirt down the side. Ooh. Ugh, that's just making it worse. Anyway, what I want to experiment with though is to make like a outer pot, because I have like this plastic pot down there that it just doesn't really match, and I could either get a new pot or I can just make one that just kind of fits the color scheme I seem to have. And maybe if I make a like a over pot, an outer pot, not sure what you call them, that then I just take the plastic pot out when I need to water it, and then put it back when it's like finished draining off. So I want to try doing that at some point. All right, and the water's started to come out, so that's it. And what I try to do is not let it sit in water. So this is like early in the day, well, more midday. So when I'm going in and finish for the night, if there's still water in the plate, I'll just like chuck it out, so it's not sitting in water, because I don't want the bottom to get too soggy, and doing that seems to like be okay. So I'm going to go ahead and water everything else and then kind of position them. I tend to put the taller pot behind just so it doesn't block out any of the light, especially since it's only the beginning of spring, so we still don't have much light by the window. And then I can get on with some painting. Welcome to another Checiegirl art chat. So today I'm going to be talking about mixed media. So I'll just be touching on like kind of different kinds of mixed media styles, some tips if you're looking to start up doing mixed media, and kind of like my experience working with mixed media. So I'm going to do some jelly printing, and how do I explain jelly printing? It says my jelly plate is from Gelli Arts, and it says it's for mono printing without a press, but I like to use it to make like backgrounds and stuff. So I'm going to use some acrylic paint, as well as some craft paint, some kind of like mark making tools, and you'll see how I use these in a second, as well as some more mark making tools, but these are more like kind of stamp mark making tools. This is like a cork, this is from a roll of tape, this is from I don't know this again, I don't really know what that is, but basically just stuff to make marks. And with a jelly plate, sorry, it's quite soft, so you want to make sure that whatever you're using to make your marks on the plate, it doesn't like dig into it or anything, because it is soft. And I also have a brayer, as well as a scrap piece of paper to like kind of roll off to clean my brayer and like my mark making tools. So yeah, so I'm gonna start off with some yellows. I don't really know what I'm doing. I think I'm going for I don't know, I think I'm gonna go for like a kind of multicolored look. Ugh. These paint tubes, the cap like broke, so I have to use cling film to cover it, but it's a bit of a pain because then the cling film kind of sticks to the paint and it's just a whole mess. And if you're going to use like a palette knife to get the paint onto your plate, make sure it's not a metal one, because those can damage your plate. And you don't want to use too much paint on your plate, just a little bit. I think we're just gonna start off with just a flat yellow for now, because like jelly printing works best in layers, so you kind of just build up. Now this paint's kind of dried out, kind of, so it's gonna be a bit tricky to kind of brayer it out. That's why I'm using the ones that's like lost their caps, just because they're not as airtight. So it's not really staying on the plate. Let's see. It's quite weird and sticky actually. Ugh. I'm just wondering, maybe if I put some more it might work. Hopefully. Because the paint's still pretty good. It's just, alright, it's transferring a bit better now. Nope, it's still picking up. This is bizarre. This is completely the paint's fault, because the plate, the jelly print plate is fine. Okay, maybe use another yellow. Okay, so this yellow is also seems to be kind of sticky, but we'll see. Seems to kind of have the same kind of effect. Alright, so what I'm just going to do is I'm going to roll this off. See, it even rolls off kind of strange. It's really sticky. It's just all sticking to my brayer. Let's see what happens if I spray some water on it. Okay, well, it's coming off a little bit better. The water's making it spread, so that's an improvement. It's coming off the brayer a lot easier as well. Alright, so if I want to use these paints that's like lost the cap, I'm just going to have to spray some water, it seems. So I'm not going to add in any marks, I'm just literally going to pick up the paint. And I kind of want it to come up right up to the edge of the paper, but this is an 8x10 plate, so I'm just going to make sure and just get all the bits of the paper at some point. So you see, it's just going to be on like a section of the paper, but then I'll just overlap the prints. Okay, this paint, I'm just going to shake it a little bit. This paint should be fine. So I want to show you what it normally looks like. Now, it all depends on like the amount of paint you need. All depends on the size of the plate. Now, I haven't done any jelly printing for a while, so it'll probably take me a few tries to get the right amount of paint. But just practice with it. Really, you don't really need it to be very particular. So that should be fine. Because I sprayed the water, it's kind of beading up a little bit, but that's okay. And I'm just starting off with some backgrounds, just a plain background. So I want to create a few plain backgrounds, and then I can start like making a pattern. And I don't really clean my plate. Ooh. Oh gosh, getting paint everywhere. I don't really clean my plate between prints. I only ever clean it once I'm finished printing, and sometimes I roll off my brayer, sometimes I don't. And I like to and it's best to do like thin layers of paint, because the more layers you put, like the kind of wetter and stickier the paper will get. And unless you want to like dry it perfectly between each print, it's best to just start off with a like thin layer of paint. So you can see that's quite thin, so it's nice and thin, so I can just keep on printing on top of that. So once I've created all the backgrounds that I want, then I can start going in. So I don't really give it a lot of time to dry, to be honest. Now I feel as if I'm going to experience the same thing with this one. So let's see. It feels kind of sticky, so I probably will. Yeah, that's quite sticky. Alright, so I'm going to spray some water on it and see if that helps. I'm starting to think that maybe I should have like decanted these into like little pots or something, so that they would be airtight. But after a bit of work, I'm able to get it into a much better layer. And I hope you can hear this kind of sticky noise. If you're rolling and it sounds a bit sticky like this, that means you've got a good amount of paint on there. And I just tend to roll off onto this paper until it just gets too much. And yeah, that means you've got a good amount of paint on there. But if it's like, if the brayer is slipping and sliding, then you've probably got too much paint. So that's how you can kind of figure out if you have enough paint on your plate. And I really like the texture that I tend to get from the plate. I quite like it. I don't want to get any paint on my gold mat, so I'm just going to put something else underneath this roll-off paper to protect it. And for like creating the background, I would recommend like starting with a light-ish color, but you don't really have to. You don't have to worry too much about it, because you can just keep on adding layers. But if you know you also want to like add a lot of layers, starting with a lighter colors, like light to dark, it's good. But again, it is acrylics, so the opacity of acrylics does help. But if you have more transparent paint, of course it'd be a bit trickier to see like lighter layers on darker like layers. And when you don't clean your plate, the more like kind of paint bits that build up on the plate as you like create the backgrounds, it just makes it look a lot more interesting and adds a lot more texture. So that's also one of the reasons I don't really clean it, just to kind of give that really nice effect. So you see how you got like, I got some of the blue and stuff in the purple, those kind of like textures. So that's what I try to get when I'm printing. You can also mix colors as well, so I'll show you that in a second. And I think I have a couple videos on jelly printing, so I'll link those in iCards in the top right hand corner if you want to take a look. And you can see like quite a few more different techniques, because I'm going to be quite simple here, to be honest. I'm not going all out like I do sometimes. And you can use the brayer to go along the back of the paper to like burnish it properly so it gets a nice print. But I don't know if I really want to dirty the back of this paper yet. I'll see. Okay, so I'm going to start to do some layers with like making marks. And when you make the marks, you can basically like take away some of the paint so that you can see the layer underneath. So I'm going to try like doing a kind of black layer, but before I do that, I just wanted to show you the roll-off page, I thought I would just leave it like this because I thought it looked quite nice. You can see all the texture from when the paint was being a bit like thick and sticky. So yeah, thought that was pretty cool. So actually, I'm thinking I actually might put some more. And I'm using a plastic palette knife so I don't damage my jelly plate. And oh boy, well, just broke another plastic palette knife. These are very old, so they're probably a bit dry rotted, to be honest. Oh well, what was I saying? Oh yeah, and these are just like some paints from an old paint by number kit. They're not great paints, so they're pretty good for jelly printing because it doesn't really matter the quality of the paints when it comes to that. So I want a nice even layer, and I'm gonna roll that off nice and like well. I don't really want too much black on my brayer. I'm gonna take one of these, and you want to move kind of fast. I'm just going to make some patterns, especially with this paint. I find it dries kind of quickly, so you kind of like, it's like you're scraping away with the paint. Then you can print it, and it's nice sometimes to turn the paper so you can get like some kind of difference in the print. It's a bit like a patchwork. You can just kind of splice prints together. So you can see from where I kind of like put the marks onto the paint that you can see through it. Now, because the paint dried so quickly, you weren't able to see through as well as I would have liked. But we can try that again. I'm just going to pick up the remainder of the paint from the plate to clean it off as well as possible. So it dried onto the plate, but there's no need to worry because I can actually go in and pick that up again. So I'm going to use some, I think I'm going to use some light blue. How about some light blue and then some of this Viridian, so I can get a bit of a kind of gradient. And doing this will help to pick up any paint that's left on the plate. So I just kind of started off with the light blue, and I just kind of moved in. And then I can just kind of move up again. I don't want it to mix completely, so I'm just making sure it's nice and smooth in the Viridian section. Then I'll move up slightly, kind of move back down. Then I've got a nice smooth gradient. And again, I'm going to remove. Now I'm getting a much, I'm able to remove the paint a lot easier because it's not drying as quickly. And then I can, let's see, let's do this again. Actually no, let's do this. So when I pick it up, you'll now be able to see if it flattens out. I find the paper likes to curl quite a bit when I'm doing this. So you can see that, how you can see like through the layers, and that's like how you create your patterns using a jelly print. Now there's still some paint left over, so I'm going to pick up a ghost print. I'm going to pick it up in sections. And I want these to be quite simple, so I might go over this with like a little bit more of something, but not too much, because I do quite like how it's turned out. So anyway, I didn't really get this pattern, I'll just pick up. Okay, it looks pretty cool, and actually I think I might just pick up the rest, to be honest. Right, and that's really quite nice. So I know exactly what I want to add to this, so I'm just going to brayer off. I forgot to do that. And I think I'm just going to go in with this. And again, you can see some of the paint left over, but again, that's not a problem. Ooh, that sounded lovely. Right, let's do that. And this paint is quite transparent, which will be a cool effect. Actually, I think I might put on a bit more paint just because it's so transparent. This is Fluorescent Pink by Reeves. And again, putting down this pink will help to pick up the remainder of the paint left on the plate. There. So looks pretty cool. I'll just go in and pick up any of the excess. Cool. And then I'm going to let this dry, and I can go over with some like white to kind of lighten it if I want to, but I would let this dry because it's quite damp now. I don't want it to turn all muddy. So, and I did want to show that I just kind of went over with on all the sheets with just the color I used to create like the initial print, just so I would have like the same kind of background to start off with. And I find jelly printing is a great way to actually use up paints that you're like, you're not a fan of, you know, it's not great quality, but it's still like good enough to use. This I find is the perfect time to use that kind of paint. Now, because it's this paint, I'm going to try to move a bit quicker than I did before. So, and also because it dries quicker, I also, what's the word I'm looking for? I put a bit more on the plate just to kind of lengthen the drying time. That actually looks really nice. And once you've like done one print, but then you go in and like pick up the excess print, it's called a ghost print. That's how that looks. And the excess paint on the brayer, I can actually just kind of roll over if I wanted to. Let's go with blue, just kind of play on that kind of primary color. But I'll go with this, some of this light blue, and I'll just kind of put it everywhere. And then some of this blue, actually this blue, because it's sticky, let's just grab this blue for now. There's some cerulean, and I don't think I'm going to get a gradient with this. I'm probably just going to get a bit of a mix, because I'm not like making sure to stay in one direction. So I'm going to get a bit of a like a blotchy mix. Right, that looks really cool, and this part is actually my favorite, like how I can really see all like the patterns through it, so I quite like that. And then again, like here I find is quite cool. So you see, you can like you can really get anything from these. And I still have, I think I kind of want this on here, so I wonder if I can pick that up. Let's see, I have a little bit of paint left over, just a little bit, so I'm just going to roll it over and see what I can pick up. All right, so not much, just a little bit. So this is going to get pretty repetitive if I stay on, so I think I will either speed some of this up or just kind of skip to the end, so you can see what they look like when finished. And yeah, I think, yeah, that's pretty much it. Oh, I did forget to I forgot to do like the mark making stuff. All right, maybe I can show you that on this one. Let's see. Like sometimes what I do when I want to add marks with like kind of like stamping tools, what I'll do is I'll do all the printing and then I'll just like stamp paint onto it. So I'll use them very much like a stamp, but this time I'll use them more to like, I don't know, I'll see what I do. I'll see what I do, then I'll explain it. Let's go with that. And what's really nice, I mean, you can go with like more coordinating colors, which I might do with some of them, but what's also nice is you can use contrasting colors, so you get more of a contrast. Let's see, and I'm trying to be kind of gentle with these because I don't want to press too hard. I don't want to ding my plate, and when I press down, I'm kind of turning it so you can kind of pick up some of the paint. All right, let's see, what do I get? Okay, cool. So I don't normally use them like this, but you can kind of see how the circles kind of just took away some of the paint. And then you can also use them as a bit of a stamp if you just press on with the paint. And then I had something else that I wanted to show you guys with the mark making tools, but I seem to have forgotten. What was it? Oh, that was it. All right, I might be able to show you with this paint. It's a bit sticky, but I'll see what I can do. This might mix and create like just a warm kind of green because all the green that's left on the palette. So first I'm going to remove some paint real quick. Again, this dried super quickly. And then I'm going to will this work? Let's see. Let's grab some more pink. Now I'm kind of rushing because the paint's just drying so quickly. Oops. All right, that'll work. Right, so I wouldn't normally do this. I would just put the paint on another surface, but we're just gonna pick up the paint and just stamp it, and you'll only really see the pink through like where I've removed the paint previously, and then I'll show you another way so you can see the stamping even better. Okay, so you can see the paint, you can see the pink, but it's kind of got the green in front. Now the yellow's kind of transparent and also lighter, so you can't see it like perfectly. I mean, you can't, the pink isn't hidden very well. This one kind of looks all over the place. You win some and you lose some when it comes to jelly printing. Okay, so I'm just gonna pick up this paint. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the cork, and again, it's easy if you don't put it on the plate, but I don't really mind. All right, just going to stamp around, and you're going to want it to dry a little. Now don't use the heat gun on this. That would not be good for your plate at all. So you're just gonna want to let it dry slowly. And I'm just using quite thin layers so I don't have to wait too long. And then you can use a slightly darker color. I think I'll go with blue. So I let it dry for a little while. Now I can put the blue over. Right. Now I don't think it's perfectly dry, so I don't want to disturb it too much. So I'm going over with the brayer kind of lightly. And I want the green to be able to show through, so I can just again go over lightly with this. I'm doing this is a bit like negative painting, like you start with what you want to see in front, and you can do this in quite a few layers. Yeah, that worked pretty well. So you can see it, especially like here, how it's in front of the blue stripes. So you can create layers in all sorts of different ways, and even though I scraped away, you can still see the green underneath the blue layer, and that just helps because it's in thin layers. So yeah, I'll come back to you guys when I've finished all the backgrounds. Alright, so here is the aftermath. Actually pretty tidy considering. Yeah, I'm surprised there's just not stuff everywhere. So I will show you guys the backgrounds. Right, so I've got a few backgrounds. First is this one. Most of them I finished off with either having black over top or a lighter color, but I'll show you all the black ones first. And some of them I like, some of them, are okay. What I find is, well, I think this was a lot of things, but especially when I do jelly printing, I gotta kind of let it rest. I do quite like this one though. And you can see all the layers, because a lot of these, by the time I've finished, you can't really see all the stuff I've done, but that's jelly printing. This is one of the wipe off sheets. I just put the excess black from one of the prints onto it. I quite like this one actually. And then I've got the lighter ones. This one I find is quite sweet. It's got a different look. And I also ended up only pretty much using these. I really like to use these. I find I can just make all sorts of patterns with them. Then this one's okay. Now I can always go over these. I mean, you never really have to stop with jelly printing. It's just when you like it, then you stop. And then this one's quite nice. I like the bright contrast between the light color and all the colors behind. And what I've realized is when I watch different jelly printing videos, this is another wipe off sheet. Yeah, when I watch other like jelly printing videos, I find that sometimes people don't layer up as much as I do, but it kind of like when I do mixed media, I just recorded my mixed media podcast, which you guys probably would have heard already, but I'll link that if you haven't in an iCard. And when I was talking about mixed media, I was saying that, like, you know, don't be afraid to like cover up things that you've done and create different layers. And I wonder if it's because I'm used to that. I do that a lot. I find I do that with jelly printing a lot, and sometimes with like watercolor and gouache, which is why I think when I first picked up watercolors I struggled so much, because I was used to just kind of just layering up and seeing what happens. So I just kind of realized that after doing the podcast that is pretty much my main technique. Add layers until it looks alright. So yeah, I have a bunch of backgrounds. I will see what I really think about them tomorrow, and I'm just going to lay them out flat. I don't mind if they're like over each other, but I don't want to have too much overlap, just because I want them to dry nicely. So I'll just leave them to dry overnight. Sometimes, because of all the layers of paint, they can be like slightly tacky. The next day, they can be slightly tacky, but just leave them to dry. As sometimes it takes a couple days, because let's see, if I think about it, I would say there's about 4, maybe 5 layers of paint on each paper, and then the wipe off sheets might actually be more. So I'm going to clean my plate. This is what it looks like at the moment. You can just see some ghosting. What I tend to do is I just pretty much spray water. I go over with a rag or some paper towel until it's pretty much clean. I don't need it to be perfect, but I don't want it to look like, I don't want it to have this on it. Now, you don't really have to clean your plate. It all depends on what you prefer, but I prefer to start off with a pretty clean plate. So sometimes you can, like, sometimes the crusty bits might get left on a little bit, but it's kind of easy to rub these off. So I'm going to clean my plate, clean my area, and yeah, I'll talk to you guys in the next clip. I thought I would just chat to you guys while I'm doing one of the practice sketches for the Komodo Dragon. So I'm using my new Vision Strathmore sketchbook, and I'm just starting off the sketch with a mechanical pencil like I normally do. And you can see that this is my second sketch. My first sketch is probably the most derpiest looking Komodo Dragon you'll ever see. That was a warm-up sketch. My warm-up sketches always come out looking a bit strange, so this one turned out a lot better. I did 3 in total, which you'll see like at the end of this. And what I tend to do with these sketches is just a study, really. So I just want to kind of get myself used to like what shapes I need to use to like build what I'm drawing, and maybe like what colors I might use in the illustration. So it's the same with the gecko and snake studies that I did. I just kind of played around with what color I wanted, like both on the animal and the background. Now, I knew that the Komodo Dragon would have a red background, so the colors that were on the Komodo Dragon, I wanted there to be a bit of contrast. So once I got like the initial like shape on, I went in with some coloring pencils. Now, the coloring pencils I'm using, nothing special, just a bunch of random ones. My friend gave me these actually. So there's some Crayola, some from W.H. Smith, which is a store in the UK, if you don't know it. And yeah, just like cheap coloring pencils, the kind that you would just like have as a child. And yeah, I used that mainly to color. And the colors that I'm putting on, like I had quite a few reference photos like on Pinterest, and some of them the scales was different colors, and I think it's just kind of reflections, like what might have been in the background, so I can kind of play around with the colors when it comes to painting. So yeah, so that's why it's quite colorful, because I think Komodo Dragons are pretty much just a very dark browny kind of green. And then I also went in with some ballpoint pens, some zebra G-grip pens I think they call, and then Mate Inkjoy pens, just to add some more detail and just kind of play around the colors again. And then I also went in with a Derwent pencil. I think it was like a 6B pencil because it was quite dark, just to add some outlines. I like to play around with what mediums I use when I'm sketching, just to kind of use them, because I don't sketch a lot. I would like to sketch like more often though, but yeah, so since I don't, I just kind of like to play around and just see what I do like while I'm doing a study, just to make it a little bit more fun. So yeah, I'm happy with how these turned out, and I'll talk to you guys more about that at the end. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So very simple studies, and I just tend to do a page of studies as well, because I find once I've done just a few sketches, I'm good to go, and you'll be able to see, like, and I'll talk to you a little bit later in the vlog while I'm doing the sketch for the illustration. I'll just give you guys a close-up of the Komodo dragons I sketched. This, you can see, is obviously a warm-up. That always happens. The first sketch never really turns out very nicely, and I like both of these, but I think I might stick with this like angle, because this is nice, but I do like seeing the Komodo dragon's tongue on this one, and this just kind of just makes me think of a dinosaur, to be honest, this bottom one, and I don't want it to look like a dinosaur. And I find like not only the tongue, but just like seeing the foot and more of the body of the Komodo dragon would actually be a nicer look. But one thing I kind of have to take consider is the fact that, okay, I was fighting with the tripod. The fact that like this one would work better as a landscape, but this one I'm going to have to kind of like adjust, or at least bring the body out a little bit more, just to kind of make it fit a landscape a little bit better, because all the icons will be like landscape, just so that they work as a series. So I'm just going to have to kind of adjust that. So I'll either like work on more sketches, or I could just like kind of go in. But yeah, I could work on some more sketches, but I'm happy with the practice that I've done so far. And yeah, I think I'll move on from this, so that I don't just like, yeah, sometimes it's just good to like move on to another thing and just kind of come back with like fresh eyes the next day. So yeah, I'm happy with it though, and I guess next time you'll probably see me starting the painting, hopefully. So as I said earlier in the vlog, that I wanted to make some healthy snacks like throughout the month. So for one of the weeks I did like stuffed dumplings. So the stuffing had soybeans, mushrooms, kale, I think, some tomatoes most likely, and a few seeds like sesame seeds and chia seeds. That's from what I could remember, and I just kind of seasoned it up. And then now I'm just like kind of rolling out the dough, and at first it didn't really work out because I was like just using one of my nice big mug to cut out circles. So I just kind of pulled them apart, then rolled it out individually and cut the circles that way. I found it a little bit easier to control. I'm not very used to working with dough, so I just had to kind of make it easier for myself. And I saw this, how to make this, I think it was on Tasty's Instagram feed. Now, I didn't follow the instructions like perfectly. I just pretty much followed like the dough recipe and just how to cook it, but like the filling I just kind of made up from what was in the kitchen. So yeah, after like I made all the circles and cut them out, and then I stuffed the circles. And I put like white flour, mostly white flour, but then some whole wheat flour, just so that I would just have a little bit more, you know, it would feel a little bit more substantial than just having like white flour. And when I stuffed it, I just made sure to like wet the rim so that it would stick together easier. And after that, I like wet the bottom, and you'll see in a little bit once like the dumplings were made, I wet the bottom with a little bit of water and then just kind of smushed it on some sesame seeds, just to have that like some extra seeds on there. And then when I put it in the pot, I put some oil in the frying pan, let the like sesame seeds cook a little bit, like kind of fry up and toast, and then poured in some water and let that steam for a while. And again, I will link that, I'll try to find the post and link it so that you can follow along if you want to, because I am no cooking specialist, so I will link that if you guys want to do that recipe. And yeah, and it turned out really yummy. I'm not a fan of dumplings, but I don't think I've ever really tried stuffed dumplings, so this was really cool to do. And I really like how it turned out, and it was a really nice, yummy snack for the week. Oh, and whenever I ate it, I would have like some soy sauce with it, just to kind of like add something. So now I'm doing the Komodo sketch for the illustration, and I'm just using some watercolor paper. I can't remember what GSM it is, you know. I'll have to check and put it at the bottom of the screen. And for the sketching, I'm using a watercolor pencil. I like to do that now for any like watercolor illustrations I'll be doing, just because it melts away when I start to paint. And yeah, and I use a putty rubber this time, because just so it's gentler on the paper than just a plain old rubber. I don't want to like kind of rub away the fibers of the paper, because when you do that and you then go into paint with watercolors, the watercolor doesn't really like react very well. And yeah, so I just have a snippet of the process, because my head got in the way a lot, and as well the camera did struggle to focus quite a bit. I'm gonna have to play around with my settings so that it focuses better on sketches. But yeah, so I'm really happy with how the sketch turned out. I'll show you both the Komodo and Cayman sketch in a little bit. And yeah, so it's pretty much just the same process, just like putting down the shapes and then just refining really. And I used that color watercolor pencil just so that it would look a bit warm. I didn't want to, I knew I was probably going to use more cool colors, but I didn't want to have a cool base of pencil, just so, you know, it would look more alive. So that's why I picked that color. And yeah, that's pretty much it. just pop in to do a quick update. So I finished both the reptile sketches. I hope you can see that. I know it's really light. So this is the Komodo one, if you can see that. Hopefully that focused. And then this is the Cayman one. I did film myself doing the Komodo sketch, so you'll see that in the vlog, probably before this bit. And then I've also just finished doing a Mother's Day card for my mom and grandmother. So this is the one for my mom. And I really like how this turned out. I didn't film it. I've been dropping the ball a little bit when it came to vlogging this week. Today is the 10th, if you're wondering. So yeah, I forgot to just turn on the camera, to be honest. So I just used some like book paper, some scrap like pattern paper that I had made myself just with like paint and stuff, and like some craft cardstock. The card was already like had a window in it, so I thought I would do this kind of like flower arrangement kind of look. So that's the one for my mom, and then this is the one for my gran. And basically it's the same process, just different colors, slightly different style. I thought it would be nice to do an oval frame for this one. And yeah, I'm really happy with them. Oh, and I also did a lot of ink blending, so yeah. So I apologies that this, like, the process won't be in the vlog. Yeah, I kind of dropped the ball there just a little bit, so apologies for that. But yeah, you can let me know, which one do you prefer. I really like the one I made for my mom, because like those are kind of like the colors I like. She likes greens and stuff, so I wanted to do that. Then my gran likes oranges. And yeah, so it was a really nice and simple card to make. And maybe like if you guys would like a tutorial on how I made these, I can do that. It shouldn't be too hard to do, to kind of replicate. So let me know and I will do that if you guys are interested. So yeah, and then let me see what I want to do for the rest of the week. I would like to get the like Patreon rewards for March done. My Patreon rewards have been late, and I really want to like kind of get on top of that because I've been playing catch up a lot. So I want to get on top of that and hopefully finish them by the end of this week, and maybe start painting the reptile paintings. Yes, and I will definitely vlog some of the painting process of most likely the Komodo Dragon, because the Cayman tail would be above the Komodo Dragon, so I want to do that one first, kind of like in order of what they would be in. So yeah, I think that's first I want to get the Patreon rewards done this week, and then second the Patreon like tier icons, because I gotta do the painting and then the digital background like I did with the gecko and snakes. So I will see you guys in another clip. I think that's all I have to update you on so far. Yeah. Oh, and I have editing to do, but I always have editing to do, so that's not really new. So yeah, thought I would just update you guys, and I will see you guys in the next clip. So I thought I would talk you guys through like the process when I am like cleaning up the bullet journal scans for the Patreon rewards. So at first I'll scan it, and I try to make sure that the scanning bed is nice and clean so there's not too much dust. And then I scan it, and I tend to do 2 scans, just one plain, and then you can kind of edit the scan in like the preview settings. So one with like the kind of brightness and saturation maybe changed up a little bit, and then I'll pick which one I prefer. And then I put it into Clip Studio Paint, and since it's a double spread, I'll kind of just copy each half and edit them separately, then put them back together afterwards. And at first I kind of like select the white area around like the images and the dots, and I just kind of fill that in with some white. I just use dense watercolor just to kind of cover up any dust patches, any bits that didn't scan very well, any smudges maybe that was made while I was creating the bullet journal spread. And it's pretty simple. I cut out quite a bit because it does take a little bit of a while. And I also go in and like clean up the letters, especially like when I was doing this, I made a mistake. I didn't center it very well, so I had to cut out some paper and stick it on. So I had to fix up that like kind of crease mark. And yeah, and then because I like to make these pretty customizable to yourself, I will have one where it looks like the original, and then the other version I'll like take away the title. So I'll do that, and then I'll like replace the dots, and yeah, I'll do that. So the March spreads, like it'll have the title page and the calendar page, and in two versions with the like March title and everything in, and then blank. And then the weekly page I just leave blank, so you can just customize that however you'd like. And yeah, it's pretty much the same process throughout. It's just when it gets to the calendar and weekly pages, I just kind of use the line tool to just clean up those lines and make it nice and sharp. And yeah, it's just really quite simple. And now that this is the third patron reward I've done, I've gotten my like techniques down and everything, so the process is a lot faster than when I first started up. And I will link my Patreon down below, so you can check that out if you're interested. By now, I actually have 4 spreads. I have the setup spreads, January, February, and March, available on Patreon for you to download. And once you join, you'll get all like the previous downloads. So, yes. And I just have the March and calendar processes up. I didn't want to make the vlog too long or too repetitive, because it gets pretty repetitive actually, especially when it comes to the weekly ones. It's almost identical to the calendar spread. And once I've done that, I will copy them over to like another file and put them together. So there's a few like printable options. There's the double spreads for if you just have a A5 bullet journal or planner, and then there's also the A4 set where the pages are singular. Yeah, they're in a single fat, so that you can, you know, kind of size it up, size it down, especially if you have a bigger planner. It wouldn't be for you. And yeah, so those are like the options. I just wanted to make it as customizable as possible. And then once I've done all the cleaned everything up, I then go in and make the like patron reward kind of graphics and file previews. So I use Pixel. I think you say it. I don't really know how to say it. I'll put it up on the screen. And yeah, so I use that to just put all the like the double spread images together as a file preview, and then the single page as a file preview. And I'll also do that with the coloring page. So you'll see me doing a file preview for the bullet journal spreads. I forgot to film the when I was doing the coloring page, but it's pretty much just the same process. I have like that dark blue background, I add a white border, I put file preview on, I put the images on, just so it looks like really nice and kind of professional looking. I find it's a really nice clean look. And yeah, that's what I do for the Patreon rewards. So I've talked about the bullet journal process, and I also wanted to kind of talk to you guys through how I do the coloring pages. So this one took really long just because there's a lot of details in this. So like the last coloring page, the koi fish circling each other was nice and simple, and it was actually a really nice warm-up for when I had to do this one. So with this one, unlike the koi fish that I pretty much just liked how it was, I just had to trace it really. This one I had to fix up a few things, especially the pot. Like, it's super wonky, so I put on the symmetry like ruler, because trying to freehand it, I find trying to do a long steady line digitally is very tricky. So trying to get it looking like almost symmetrical was like near impossible for me. So I used the symmetry tool, and you can see me just kind of adjusting, and that took pretty long. Actually, compared to everything else, it took a while for me to kind of get the pot right. And yeah, symmetry tool was a definite lifesaver. And once I got the pot done, then I was able to move on to the plants. And you can see I have the original image, and I just brought the original image down like 50% opacity, so that I can like see my lines a little bit clearer. And what I also did on the layer that has my reference image, I would jot down what size brushes I was using, and I think it's called the G pen. I find that's like the cleanest line I can get, especially for when it's printing, because I like to print out both my bullet journal spreads and my coloring pages before I put it up to patrons, just to make sure everything looks okay. So yeah, I just kind of just jotted down, like, so the pot was like, say, size 12 or something, and then the plants were all different sizes. So just like how the pen widths were varying in the original line art, I wanted it to look that way too, so it wouldn't look too like flat or anything. There would be some weight to the coloring page. So what I would do sometimes, if I would just kind of messily go in and just see if I like it or not, then I'll jot down the size. And I use the same pen throughout, so it would look the same. And so you can see me jotting it down every now and again. And then I'll just go around and trace it. So I didn't trace it perfectly, mostly because these are plants. So I wasn't too worried about them being perfect. And in some places I just kind of fixed things up, maybe adjusted it. And yeah, so it's a pretty simple process. It just took a while. And yeah, and to be honest, I find the most challenging part about digital art is adding dots. Sometimes I wish I could kind of just get a paintbrush and splat. So adding dots I found was the trickiest, just getting like the right pressure to add a good dot. Maybe with practice it'll get easier. I'm guessing it will, because I'm sure professional digital artists are very good at that. So yeah, but I'm still very new to it, so I'm just kind of figuring things out. But yeah, it's all good practice. So what I did want to do is to things that was next to each other, I didn't really want them to be like the exact same line weight, just so they wouldn't kind of blend all in together. And one thing I also made sure was that whenever I would like add something new, like trace over another area, I would turn off the reference photo layer so that I can see what it looks like without it, because I found that if I kept the reference photo on, it looked really nice, like there was depth and everything, but as soon as I take it away, I can see maybe, okay, maybe I need to adjust that, maybe I need to add this. And yeah, so what I will also do is I forgot to film the file preview section. It's, again, I think I mentioned this though slightly earlier when I was doing the bullet journal process, that it's the same process. And so I'll just put up a photo of just like the finished file preview at some point for you guys to see. And again, this is also on my Patreon snake tier, as well as the koi fish one. And I'll also be telling you guys like a little bit later on in the vlog about kind of like some tips on like printing your coloring page and stuff like that. And I'll also have a video up in a couple of weeks about that as well. So yeah, the process was pretty simple. I actually did enjoy kind of going over and improving some sections and stuff. What's always interesting though is when I'm going over like with line art and stuff, is noticing all the flaws I did not notice before, because this is a previous illustration. You guys have probably seen this, especially if you've been following me on Instagram or you were patrons from last year, because I think this was one of my Color Palette Wednesday videos. I'll try to remember to pop a photo up of the illustration so you can kind of see what it looks like. And yeah, oh, and another thing that I did, I just kind of like quickly wrote out like a kind of signature for the bottom of the coloring page that just says like by Nathy for Simon, aka Checiegirl Creations, just so that and I did that on a separate file and saved as a PNG, so I don't have to write it out every time I do a coloring page. Yeah, kind of work smart, not hard kind of thing going there. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I really loved how it turned out, because the koi fish was a lovely like kind of warm up, and then doing all of this, I was really with how it turned out. I was worried that it would look too busy and stuff, but by the time it finished, I was really pleased with it. So this reminds me more of like an adult coloring page book, just because it's so detailed. So yeah, so on my Patreon, it all depends on what line art and stuff I use, but some will be very detailed like this one, and some will be like slightly less detailed like the koi fish. And yeah, so if you're interested, please do check out my Patreon link below, and I will talk to you guys a little bit later. I've seen these things going around a few selling Facebook groups that I'm on called pocket hearts or pocket hugs, and it's just something that people send to their loved ones, especially because of the times that we're in, just to like show that they're thinking of them and stuff. So I thought I would like make a few just to like see if they sell or not. And the backgrounds that you see, those are the backgrounds I made with the jelly plate earlier in the vlog, and I just kind of like cleaned them up digitally on Clip Studio. I completely forgot to actually film that, so I apologize. I'll make sure and film something to do with editing my artwork on digitally at some point. And I also kind of like did some doodly borders for the inside, which you'll see in a little bit. And yeah, so these are just some crochet hearts that I had, and I put some buttons in the middle, and you'll see me like using some kind of sticky tape to tape it on. I just did that just in case like the person who purchased it wanted a different colored heart. I didn't want to stick it on permanently, so I just wanted to make sure they were secure for photos. And yeah, it's a really simple process. I printed it out on cardstock, so it's nice and strong. And yeah, so it's very simple indeed. It was interesting, kind of like seeing how well my printer prints colors. I was actually really happy with it. And yeah, so these aren't on my shop, so if you are interested, you can comment or message me on one of my social media pages if you are interested, and I'll get back to you. And yeah, I thought I would just like mention that because these aren't on my shop. I just thought I'll just try a little something and put them on Facebook selling groups. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Let me know what you think. Which one is your favorite background? I really like the dark swirly one with like the kind of green, and the stripy like darker one as well. I really like those. Yeah, those were like my favorite jelly print backgrounds. And what I did is, when I was picking the backgrounds, I kind of just cropped out like my favorite part of the background and used that. And yeah, oh, and I also corner punched them as well, so it would have a nice rounded edge, because I prefer that look. So yeah, let me know what you think in the comments below, and I will chat to you guys in a little bit. So we are at the end of the vlog, and I just wanted to give you guys a quick look at these tests on my coloring pages. Now, I wanted to test my coloring page so that I can see like what would work, say when it's an inkjet print or a laser print. And well, alcohol inks work fine on an inkjet printer, and of course dry mediums would. But then it's not permanent, so if you want a permanent print, then you would have to use a laser printer. But I know that most people don't have laser printers, so I did do a quick video, a tips and tricks video that'll be coming out in a couple weeks, just to kind of show you guys how you can like transfer the drawings into your sketchbook if you want to use them that way. And these coloring pages are available on my Snake Patreon tier. Oh, and I'll also show you the most recent one for March. So this is the one for March. You can see it's a bit more detailed than the February one. Yeah, I do think I filmed like the screen for this process, so you can like, that should have been shown in the vlog. Now I'm just like letting you know about the coloring pages now, because I did film a snippet of like just kind of give you some like tips for within the vlog, but it's really long. I filmed most of what I did this month, so it's quite a long vlog, so I thought I would just have this as a separate video, especially for people who just like watch my process videos and stuff, to be able to see. And oh, I did want to show you guys this. Now, if you remember from the start of the vlog, this is one of my replacement succulents for the one that I lost over the winter, and it's actually starting to go green in the middle. It was completely red. I hope you can see that okay. And it's actually getting greener a lot faster than the other one. I don't know if it's just because it's warming up, so it's responding a little bit quicker, but I thought I would just show you that, because it's, maybe it has been a month, maybe about a month. I would have to check the dates on that one, so I thought that was pretty cool. So hopefully in a couple months it'll be completely green and nice and succulent. So yeah, so this is pretty much the end of the vlog. I was hoping to get some of me like starting my Komodo painting in the vlog, but this week I pretty much spent just editing, making sure basically any videos that I filmed were edited, ready to come out for next month. Yeah, so I don't know if a clip of me starting the Komodo Dragon painting will be in the vlog, but I do want to make that a video, so maybe in the next vlog you might get some like the Cayman process. But I do want to have a video for the Komodo like illustration, just so you guys can see that, because I don't really think I haven't really had a watercolor painting video in a while, so I thought I would film that so you guys could have it. So it won't be in the vlog sadly, but there will be a video next month. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I know this is a much longer vlog. It has some of when my mom and I went walking, like me working, painting, Patreon rewards, all sorts in here. So I hope you enjoyed. I hope I got like a lot more like variety this time. I'm actually quite pleased with what I got done this month so far. There's like a week to go because this is the 19th. It's not like the full month because I have to get it edited. So yeah, I'm actually really happy with what I got done. I was a lot more productive, so I'm really happy about that. And yeah, so let me know what you think in the comments below. I had a bit of a brain fog there. Let me know what you think in the comments below. If you have any questions about anything that's happened in the vlog, or like if you've seen something like a snippet and you want a video on it, let me know and I'll see what I can do. And yeah, so please do give me a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already. I upload a video every Friday around midday GMT time. And yeah, oh, and click that notification bell so you don't miss a video. So thanks for watching, and I will see you guys next week for a podcast. Bye.